Alright guys, we're going to be building a new buzzworthy keyboard. Some ideas. A TKL, it's the most versatile. And also, brass weights. Okay, good. What else? Hot swap, RGB, wireless, and foam. Excellent. Gaskets. Lots of them. How many are you thinking? 5,000. No. 50,000. And not one less. Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Scott K. There might be a chance that this is the record holder for the sheer number of gaskets in a keyboard. 28 to be exact. I mean, I thought the QK100 had a lot at 12, but that's a big 1800 keyboard also. But no, the Leo 80 by Chosfox, it takes the cake. Overall, the Leo 80 is a fine example of an entry keyboard kit. But why the gasket overzealousness? Because more is more, America! But with this video, I want to explain what gaskets do, and what all those gaskets can do to the typing experience as well. So let's get started. So the Leo 80 by Chosfox is their in-stock TKL keyboard. It's a kit that comes at a very approachable starting price of $140. Overall, it ticks all the boxes. It's got wireless connections, south-facing hot swap sockets, loads of RGB, brass weights, flexible PC plate, foam mods, and yes, a billion gaskets. Let's get into its overall design, shall we? The Leo 80 has a distinct upper and lower case separation with this parting character line that splits the top and bottom right down the middle. It also has a beveled front edge that helps to hide that 20mm height quite well. Under the case, you got a nice brass weight with you guessed it, the Leo zodiac sign logo right in the center. They also added a similar brass decorative badge on the top of the case as well, which you could also remove and use it as a F13 key. What was interesting is that when you take the whole case apart, the Chosfox, they built in some force brake pads to help control that upper case resonance. So they did their homework here a little bit. It's really nice that they took some precautions like that. Inside, you can see where the battery is situated for obviously wireless to work, and also features a daughter board, which is a nice touch. Now, the PCB is pretty standard, right? It's a 1.6mm standard thickness and has KL hot swap sockets. I didn't have any problems with the sockets this time, and lots of RGB too. This is probably one of the brightest keyboards I have seen in a while. There are no flex cuts or anything like that on the PCB, so it keeps things pretty simple, but well, when you have 4,000 gaskets, you probably don't need that many flex cuts anyways. However, as you go to the plate, the PC plate is flexible and it has some slots cut into it as well. But like I said before, unless you have corresponding cuts in the PCB below, the little cuts in the PC plate won't really do that much more. Now, foam. Yes, it has a lot. You got the standard case foam, the plate foam, and yes, the PE foam. In addition to all that, it also has an under PCB foam taped on. So in this situation, this foam, it's acting more like tape mod than just foam. It's going to increase that mid-range sound and create more of that thok that people are looking for. Finally, let's get to the topic on hand. Gaskets. So the Leo 80 uses OG pour-on gaskets. Yes, you can put them on the plate like this, but you could also apply it to the case also like this. I usually do the case since most of the keyboards out there, they have interchangeable plates, and this way you don't need to put so many gaskets on all these different plates. You just put it on the case and the plate sits in. Now, 28 gaskets. The Leo 80 has thicker gaskets on the bottom and thinner ones on the top, so pay attention to that. As expected, the Leo 80 has gaskets on the top and bottom of the plate, but also on the sides. Not sure why they decided to do this and have this 360-degree surround gasket design. As you would expect, the keyboard is very flexible because of this. I mean, soft pour-on gaskets, 28 of them, what else could we expect? I put the keyboard together with some long stem Chosfox Voyager tactiles and finish it off with a set of PBTFans Klein blue, which one of my favorites. These are beautiful keycaps, translucent blue and white. It works really well with the e-white finish of this Leo 80 as well. So how does this sound? Well, let's check it out. Okay, so the keyboard actually sounds pretty good in my opinion. It's not overly foamy even with all that foam, has a nice poppy sound to it. But this is also what I noticed. For a keyboard with long stem tactiles and with tape mod and PE foam and a 1.6mm thick PCB, it's definitely on the quieter side. Why? This is actually what I was expecting when I first saw this keyboard online. It sure had a lot of gaskets, and I knew those gaskets will definitely have an impact on the sound. So, y'all want some science? Let's go. So what is sound? It's a pressure wave generated by like a vibrating body. So when you hit something with enough force, it will cause that item to vibrate at its natural frequency. This vibration generates a pressure wave, and you hear that with your ears as sound. Now, if you recall, in a keyboard system, you got two types of sound, right? Airborne sound and structure-borne sound. Airborne is the sound that you hear when like the keycaps are pressed and the switch bottoms out and the sound waves are generated like directly from that, and you hear it right into your ears immediately. Structure-borne sound, on the other hand, is when the energy from typing transfers into the case, it vibrates the case material and generates additional pressure waves, right? Structure-borne sound. Why is this important? Well, think about what gaskets do now. Gaskets, they do many things, but generally, we do gasket mounting on keyboards to achieve two things. Softer gasket material, it helps to dampen the typing force, right? It creates for a more flexible and comfortable typing experience overall, helps to dampen that, typing pressure. Number two, gasket helps to isolate the typing body from the rest of the case, hence reducing the energy transfer and decreasing the structure-borne sound. When you're like typing on a keyboard and you generate energy from that typing process, it transfers from like the keys to the plate to the PCB to the case. When you have a more traditional tray mount or top mount design, you get like the full extent of that force moving from the plate PCB assembly into the case itself. This is because of the relationship between the pressure and area. Pressure equates to force over area. So when you type, you generate that force from your finger. It's pretty constant, let's say, but as you increase the amount of area that force is subjected to, it will ultimately reduce the amount of pressure at the other side. So take this for example. If you take a pointy stick and put your body weight on it, you're not gonna have a fun time. However, if you take maybe 1,000 pointy sticks and put your body on it, it might be uncomfortable, but it won't be fatal, Because 1,000 sticks will have 1,000 more area than one, effectively reducing the pressure by that much as well. So the stick's not gonna go through your body. Now, in the case of a keyboard, when you have a top mount with like 6 or so mounting points, you got 6 very small, hard contact areas where the force can travel through. So you get more force going from your typing area into the case, effectively increasing the case vibration, generating more structure-borne sound. Now, when you have a gasket, you're like doing two things. Generally, the gaskets are much larger in size than a screw, right? So you're dramatically increasing the contact area here. In addition, gaskets are generally made of softer material like poron or silicone or something of that matter. So if you consider the equation now for speed of sound, it's V equals square root of Young's modulus over the density of the item. So Young's modulus is the stiffness of an object. So if your object is stiffer, the speed of sound will also increase, which means the transfer will also increase. So if you're using something like poron foam as like the contact zone, it has a very, very low Young's modulus, overall, effectively decreasing the sound speed and the transfer. So the Leo 80 now, it has a lot of gaskets. These gaskets are, number one, they're reducing the amount of pressure between the typing area and the case. Number two, the soft gaskets are reducing the speed of transfer, isolating the plate and assembly away from the case better, essentially. All this means is this: there isn't that much energy going into the case, effectively, increasing the structure-borne sound, making for a quieter keyboard. And that's the reason why even with all the stuff that typically make keyboards louder and more, bigger, it has a smaller sound. Does that make sense to you now? You can control how your keyboard sounds by adjusting the amount of gaskets, the size of gaskets, the placement of the gaskets. This is also why in general, keyboards with small little silicone gasket socks, they sound more vibrant than the ones with like fat pour-on gaskets. Stiffer material, less area equals more energy transfer into the case, so you hear more of the case. I hope that this helps to explain the science behind the gaskets a little bit. So now, with all of that out of the way, what do I think about the Leo 80? Well, for the price, right, $140 starting, it's actually a very nice keyboard. It has nice heft to it, it feels very premium, it has all the features that someone is looking for in an entry-level, readily available keyboard. And you can see how with the right keycaps, it also looks very nice and fantastic. I do wish that Chosfox used like silicone gasket stock design maybe, and probably less gaskets overall for this. Like, I think that way, even with the more quieter linear switch in here and without all the foam, the Leo 80 could have had a better sound profile overall. As usual, if you enjoyed this video and the science especially behind it, please like and subscribe and I'll have more content for you in the future. Thanks. I am so tired right now.